What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck Club here again. Okay, it is about that time we got to discuss what's going on with super stupid city mayor girl, dumb Tiffany Henyard. We got to do it. It's been a minute, and we have to get caught up on where we are with this ball of debauchery. That is Tiffany Henyard in the hell she continues to unleash upon people who don't deserve it at all. I want to start off with this video, do a reaction to Hannibal is Hungry. You guys know he's like my zen. He calms me down in this because she is so worthy of being snapped off on 24/7. Like, people should be cussing her out every time she leaves her house. I'm serious. Like, outside, just cussing her out and going off and just letting it happen. Ripping her a new one. She should not have a moment's peace at this point, because she refused to let the people of Thornton Township and Dolton have a moment's peace. So she shouldn't have one either. If I ain't getting no sleep, you ain't getting no sleep, heifer. That's how that should be. But I have to have my zen. And my zen is Hannibal is Hungry. He calms me down. He's so calming. And I love his content. You guys make sure you check him out. Show him some love. And let's get started. We're going to check out this video he just posted just about 3 or 4 good hours ago regarding Louis Lacy, the fathead that needs to be booted and sent over to the federal penitentiary real soon. I'm really hoping that they do get to a point where they do start talking about him facing some real federal criminal charges. And I'm talking about on multiple issues. One of these issues being his bankruptcy fraud charges, because he was trying to hide behind bankruptcies and lie about the fact that, you know, he had 6 figures coming in just from overtime pay when he was salaried. You're not qualified or eligible to get overtime in any position you're in. You're not qualified to get overtime pay when you're salaried. Period. That's how it works in everywhere. That's federal labor laws. All right, federal labor laws say if you're salaried, you don't get overtime pay. You're not eligible for it. Period. You don't have to understand collective bargaining agreements. Trust me when I tell you, if you're a salaried employee, you do not get overtime pay. That is based on federal labor laws. So don't believe me? Check the Department of Labor website. They can give you a ton of information there, and you can see all of the laws that the Federal Department of Labor are designed to uphold. That is everywhere in the United States of America. So he, in his position, does not get overtime pay, and yet he got 6 figures worth of overtime pay, and for some reason, his fat ass is still going to work somewhere. That, to me, it's baffling. It's mind-blowing that the State Department has not intervened in this already. What the hell is the governor doing again? What is his purpose here on earth? When is his election? Because there's no way he should be reelected. When is the governor of Illinois' election again? He should be voted out. He should have already sent the State Department to come in to say, listen, Louis Lacy, you were fired. We told you to take it to the house and you refused to go home. And now we got secret videos where other police officers have recorded you in a meeting basically saying you're still working and you still have some power. The State Department needs to come in along with the state Illinois police and say, you got to go. And we're escorting you out right the hell now. We're not asking you. We're telling you. Bring your ass out here. The end. And then keep living. And then investigate him for failing to leave the damn police station when he was fired. Was told not to come back. You were fired. No one wants you. You've been denied and rejected. Go home, bro. This is absolutely insane. The brazen boldness for him to still show up at work after being fired and terminated and told not to come back. And he still has a gun and a badge. That's the dangerous part about all of this. This man is still walking around with a badge and a gun. For some reason, nobody sees that as a problem, as a physical threat to everybody's lives. With him not following command of being terminated, no one sees the fact that he is still walking around with a badge and a gun as a physical threat to their safety and everybody's lives that he is endangering, walking around with a badge and a gun after being terminated and told not to come back to the damn police station building. Are you serious? The FBI need to hurry the hell up. They need to hurry the hell up. They should have already said, listen, if you got fired, you should not be walking around here with a gun. You want to keep that little badge to try to prove a point until you go to court? That's one thing. But you're going to give us this gun today. Because who knows if he's going to wake up tomorrow and snap and just go into the police station and go ham on everybody. Who knows? Why would anybody trust that he won't do something like that? No one owes him that. He needs to be stripped of his weapon. Take his service weapon from him. In the name of God, take his weapon. There has to be something unstable in his mind to say to himself, I got fired, and yet after being charged with bankruptcy and fraud, being under FBI investigation and all this other stuff, and then what Hannibal is about to speak about, how could anyone think that he has the mental stability to walk around with a service weapon after he has been terminated and told not to come back to work? Let stupid lose her mind by her damn self. But she doesn't have a gun walking around on her hip all day either. Lacey does. And until someone relinquishes that weapon from him, his ass needs to be treated like he has made a homicidal threat to everybody around him in that police station, in his home, and everywhere else. That's how he needs to be treated. He needs to be on watch. Someone needs to take his service weapon from him. It makes no sense that they're giving this man this level of trust. I would not trust this man to walk around with a weapon after all that he has done, especially after making the news for being the fraud piece of crap that he is. I would not trust this man with a weapon. And if you get fired and you still keep coming to work, most people are going to think that you've lost your mind and that you're crazy as hell. So I don't know why anybody should trust that this man should still have a service weapon registered to him. But, unfortunately, dumb things have to happen for no reason in order for someone to learn one lesson at the end of the day. And that's not the price that people in Dolton should be paying at this point with this piece of human waste, Louis Lacy, that's capable of unlawfully and unjustly putting someone into a situation where he has to do a police chase basically for no reason, while he's not even on duty, wearing his uniform, fails to notify the district's police department that he's pursuing someone with lights and sirens in an unmarked police vehicle. When you do stupid like that, let me tell you something. Now being terminated, the last thing anybody should be doing is thinking this man somehow is still in his right frame of mind. No, the hell he's not. He is gone. He has lost his shit. He has lost his mind. And I try my best not to use profanity, but I need people to understand how dangerous this is for this man to have been terminated. The deputy police chief to have been terminated and still walking around with a service weapon after all that he has done, after all that has been reported on him. And people are expected to trust that he won't just go nuts and just start shooting people. I would hate for something to happen. This is not the sign of a stable person that still wants to go to work after being fired and he has a gun and a badge. You're giving him permission to literally let loose on innocent civilians for no damn reason at all. The governor needs to stop acting like a coward and say something. Stop letting super stupid run amok in your state. And now you have the alleged deputy police chief who was once fired, somehow brought back as the chief of police, still walking around with a service weapon, making threats and being intimidating, bullying, abusing his power, not being faced with an indictment, bet on criminal charges of bankruptcy, fraud, and just an all out just a monster. He is a monster, and he still has a gun. And no one owes him that level of trust to think that he won't just pull out and start using it. And he one of the ones where he ain't gonna try to pay the price for it all. No, he gonna go back to his car and just be done with it, and just take himself down. And then everybody then sat here and had to go through this traumatic event. I'm literally not putting that past him. And I say this out of great concern, because someone like him, he comes off as someone who would do something like that. He doesn't seem to be very mentally fit or stable. And I highly doubt they've had psyche valves they've had to undergo. And now you have this situation that Hannibal is about to speak on, we're about to get to. But I just had to get that out. I had to get that out because people need to understand. I said to you all, everything that Tiffany Hilliard says, I would take as a physical threat to my life. I have literally been saying that video after video after video after video. Take what she says as a physical threat to your life and livelihood. I wouldn't put nothing past her because you don't owe her anything else. And now you have the goose is loose really with Louis Lacy, who actually has a registered service weapon that he still has in his possession. No one should trust this person at this point. No one. Oh, Lord. I had to get that out. Because if something happens, I would feel bad for not saying something. So I've said it, and I hope someone hears this and literally takes heed to this message, to this warning. Get the maniac away from his gun is the point I'm making. Take that weapon from Louis Lacy. You want to go out and do something? Yeah, here's a flashlight and a whistle. Get the hell on. He shouldn't even be at the police station reporting to work. And he's making threats and bullying his own LEOs. Are you kidding me? What an insult he is to humanity. Along with damn Tiffany Hilliard. They're an insult to humanity. Disgusting, vile creatures they are. All right.
Louis Lacy is a scammer and a predator. You do not want to miss this video. We're going to go into the details of that settlement that he tried to avoid paying by going on another bankruptcy. We're going to get into the details of that case because it really shows that Lacy is a scammer and a predator, taking advantage of a widow, taking advantage of someone who recently had their significant other die. We're going to talk about that and more. Let's get into it. But first, let's check out the latest with Lacey.
The deputy police chief facing a new lawsuit involving tens of thousands of dollars in overtime pay.
This lawsuit alleges that just in the last year, Dolton's acting police chief paid himself more than $100,000 in OT that he was not supposed to receive. Louis Lacy now being sued by the village for overtime. They say he paid himself but was never eligible to receive. The lawsuit alleges between August of last year and July of this year, Lacey submitted and approved nearly $140,000 in overtime for himself, even though he's a salaried employee, not entitled to OT.
The Dolton Police Department plan to present.
That's a huge conflict of interest. Why is he approving his own overtime pay for himself? What's the HR department? Oh my God.
Unified vote of no confidence in the deputy police chief to the village board. In a letter shared with ABC 7, members of the Dolton PD say they're issuing a formal declaration expressing their displeasure with Lacey's leadership.
The situation with Chief Louis Lacy is just ridiculously crazy. It's nothing short of a disgrace.
Illegality.
Not only did he betray a grieving widow that we're going to be talking about.
Let's talk about the fact that he continues to infringe upon the First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and expression. Can we please talk about how he consistently takes a huge shit on our U.S. Constitution? Can we address that? This man does not have the legal authority to evict anyone because they spoke out and they exercised their First Amendment rights. You all need to stop leaving those town hall meetings. If you're going to go, don't leave them. Don't let him sit here and tell you all he's going to infringe upon your First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and expression. Our U.S. Constitution has been in place in the United States of America for over 400 years before this fat fuck was a mere existence on this planet. Before he was even a thought in the glimmer in the eyes of his two parents, our Constitution has been in place. And he sits and he craps all over it. Every day he walks around calling himself anything in law enforcement while ignoring First Amendment rights under our United States Constitution in the United States of America. What an absolute disgrace this man is to humanity and to anything that's good and holy. I know I've said about 3 good curse words so far. I'm going to try my best not to say no more. But this is absolutely disgraceful and it's disgusting. And he should have already been set down for infringing upon the First Amendment rights of any U.S. citizen in the United States of America. When it comes to your right to freedom of speech and expression, people died for that right. How dare he sits here and he poops all over our U.S. Constitution. How dare he? Don't let him kick you out of these town hall meetings anymore. Do not let him do that anymore. That's enough of that. And I'm sick of seeing that. Y'all stop giving into it. Tell him if you don't go and sit your fat ass down, we're going to call the Illinois State Department up in here. And then you really won't have a position after tomorrow when we're done with you. Go sit your ass down before we file a federal lawsuit against you for violating our First Amendment rights. Sit down. He cannot have you all evicted out of a town hall meeting because you forced your disdain against your local government official. That is constitutionally protected activity. Stop letting them do that. He's an absolute disgrace to humanity. Egregious behavior
on his video, but he continued to exploit his position of power in other ways. So you see, most recently, Lacey is facing a new lawsuit for allegedly paying himself over $100,000 in overtime, a sum that he was not entitled to as a salary employee. Lacey wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. This behavior is not just unethical, it's criminal. Lacey has shown time and time again he cares about lining up his own pockets than serving the community that he's supposed to be protecting. And let's not forget his close ties to Mayor Tiffany Hayner, who needs him to be happy so he doesn't flip on her when the feds come
he's
on
gonna
asking.
flip
Because at this
he's
point,
a coward. He's a coward. He's not trying to go to federal prison. Another reason why they need to take that service weapon from him. He's not stable either. This is not the actions of a mentally stable man or individual, period. They need to take his service weapon. This man is he's going to do something and many people are going to regret it. Please take heed to my warning to the governor of Illinois. Get off your behind and do something, anything. Get this man's service weapon taken from him. Any judge that he appears before needs to rule in an order. He is to surrender his service weapon before he leaves that courthouse. That's how that should go. Oh my God. This man is not stable. Something is wrong with him.
He's indicted by the federal government. He's in a lot of trouble. And as I say time and time again, it is clear Lacey should never ever hold a position of power again. His actions are a blatant abuse of trust and authority. He's not just a bad cop. He's a criminal who should face the full consequences of his actions. When it comes to this situation, the people in Dolton deserve better. And it's starting to happen because a lot of these so-called leaders are being held accountable. But speaking of scandals, let's dive deeper into this fraud charges against Lacey that happened a couple of years ago. A case that highlights the extent of his deceit and the serious consequences it should have on his career and freedom. Let's get into it. So see right here, this was a civil action cover sheet. I think she wrote a brief story on what exactly happened. Her name is Denise White Hampton versus Louis Lacy. And you can see right here is based on not just fraud, but consumer fraud. So she explains exactly what happened and bring out more details of this situation, and probably is one of the reasons why he had a vote of no confidence from his fellow police officers. This was filled out June 22nd, 2015. The amount claimed $100,000. Consumer fraud. So we're going to read this story. Louis Lacy came to my house June 8th, 2013. My husband was murdered at 2012 at our home. I have been with my husband for 25 years. I have 3 kids. I got married when I was 34 years old. I was grieving and very vulnerable at the time. Mr. Louis Lacy told me that I'm going to protect you. I am going to be 59. A friend. He started dating me. Louis Lacy started telling me about his financial problems, and he started asking me for money. Mr. Louis Lacy asked me, "Did your husband have a good insurance?" I said, "Yes, he did." Louis Lacy said, "That's good for you." And Mr. Lacy asked me, "How much insurance money do I have?" I told Mr. Lacy how much money I had in the bank. She told him $300,000.
Oh my
And Mr.
good
Lacy
Lord.
started asking me for money. August 10th, 2013, I started drawing money out of the bank. I didn't know that he preyed on my insurance money. I loaned Mr. Lacy money every week. It looks like every day, but $10,000 every week. He told me that he was going to give me my money back when he get his settlement. And then you have the signature there of Denise
Oh my
White.
God.
Yeah. So as you guys can see right here, on June 8th,
Woo,
2013,
he is
Denise
a
White
demon.
Hampton's husband,
Good Lord,
Derek
he's a
Hampton, was
demon.
fatally shot in the driveway of their home. As a sworn police officer, Lacey responded to the scene, being there to provide assistance and comfort to the grieving widow. However, as the documents reveal, Lacey's actions following this tragedy were anything but noble. Instead of offering general support, Lacey began visiting White Hampton frequently.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't know. I honestly don't know if anyone is going to say this, but I'm going to say this. I would not be surprised if he knew this before that man was shot in his driveway. I would not be surprised if he knew that this woman had an insurance policy on her husband in that amount previous to that. I would not be surprised if that came up in this investigation. I would not be. It would not shock me if there was something to come up to where Louis Lacy knew that this man had an insurance policy at $300,000 in 2012 before the husband was shot in the driveway. And I'm saying it because I know most people are going to think it anyway. He probably knew beforehand, before this man was shot in that driveway. And who shot the man in the driveway? That's my question. Now I got to look up this case. Now this case has piqued my interest. Who was the perpetrator? Who was the murderer? He just showed up. The deputy chief of police, it showed up out of nowhere to provide all the people that have, I'm sure, have been shot and killed in Dolton. He showed up here. And then he's asking questions about insurance policies and money. I fail to believe he had no idea that this man had an insurance policy that large on him before he was shot and murdered in his driveway. And I'm just saying it. I'm gonna look at the case details on this. I'm assuming that this is, she has not remarried, so that was her last name at the time she wrote the letter. Let me go back so I can look at who the victim is.
Hampton's husband, Derek Hampton, was fatally shot in the driveway of their home. As a sworn police officer, Lacey responded to the scene, being there to provide assistance and comfort to the grieving widow. However, as the documents reveal, Lacey's actions following this tragedy were anything but noble. Instead of offering general support, Lacey began visiting White Hampton frequently under the guise of checking on her safety. And during these visits, he expressed his romantic interest in her.
That doesn't sound right to any person. For him to just do this arbitrarily to this one particular woman during this time frame. And I would like to even find out if he was doing this to other women. If she's the only woman that this has happened to, where he has befriended and wooed somebody, weaponizing their grief of the loss of her husband, weaponizing that against her to try to get money out of her for the insurance policy. Like I said, I will not be surprised if it were to come up that he was aware of this insurance policy prior to this man being murdered in his driveway. And he knew that and he targeted it. Probably, I would be surprised. I want to see the case details on this.
falsely claimed that he was unmarried and he was falling in love with her. Lacey's
Unmarried.
manipulation of
Falsely
Denise
claimed it?
Whitehampton during a time of immense vulnerability is disgusting, revealing what kind of person Louis Lacy is and how can he ever be in a position of public trust. So you see right here, he was falling in love with the plaintiff and falsely represented that he was an unmarried man. He is married. He told Denise Whitehampton that he was seriously in debt and requested a cash loan. And he just lied, falsely represented that he had a lawsuit pending and would provide substantial funds for the repayment of the loan and said repayment will be forthcoming upon receipt of this settlement. There was no settlement.
What was his wife?
Hold Denise Whitehampton believed.
I have so many questions. What was his wife saying after all of this? Is he still married? Is Fathead still married? Because there's no way I would stay married to a man if she has a soul and a conscience. Stay married to a man that not only cheated on her, lied about being married, and then swindled somebody out of thousands of dollars after they lost their husband in the driveway and was murdered in the driveway of his home. Are you kidding me? Oh my good Lord. What a demon he is. You're a demon, Louis Lacy.
Louis Lacy's representation set forth in paragraphs 4 and 6 was induced to lend to the defendant on or about the following dates, the sums set forth thereafter.
Good Lord.
Money that she was giving him during this time. It's a lot of money. That's
Look at the dates between the A and B. That's 3 days. So from August 26th to August 29th, he got $15,000 total out of this lady. She literally went to the bank, got $5,000. 3 days later, got another $10,000. And the bank let that come out? They say, what's your job? We're drawing all this money for 3 days, 4 days here and there. Don't seem like she would just do that normally. So they should have questioned, like, what's going on with these withdrawals like this? What's happening? Somebody making you do this? Because I sure would say that. Look at this, September 3rd, September 23rd, and then the 26th. So he waited 20 days between the 3rd and the 23rd, and then another 3 days. Then you have October 2nd and 5th. So it's like every 3 days seems like. And then October 5th to the 15th, that's 10 days. And then another 3 days. So you still have 3 days and then 20 days. And then 3 days again. Then the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. 1st, 2nd, 5 days. Maybe 6 days total between that. And then 3 days. And then 10 days. And then 3 days. So it's like 10 days, 3 days. 5 days, 3 days. 6 days, 3 days. Like that. It's like, Jesus Christ. The bank should have said no. Lady, listen. We need to know what's happening. Someone making you do this because we need to know. From the 15th to the 16th, that's 1 day. You gave somebody $4,000 and then $2,000 1 day apart. Something's wrong with this picture here.
a crazy amount of money. Look how much money that Louis Lacy was scamming out of that widow. Lacy's scamming actions did not stop at emotional manipulation. So by August 2013, Lacy had convinced Whitehampton that he was in serious debt and needed financial assistance. So over the next couple of months, Lacy continued to deceive Whitehampton, fabricating a story about some kind of pending lawsuit that will allow him to repay her. And if you calculate all this, in total, Whitehampton lent Lacy $88,800, believing that he would honor his word and return the money once his so-called settlement came through. The series of loans, meticulously documented in this thought right here, demonstrates the extent of which Lacy exploited Whitehampton's trust for his financial gain. This was a gross abuse of power and a violation of ethical standards. Why are you...
child, this was 10 years ago. I don't know how old her children are, but as a mother, I see this as you taking money out of my children's mouths. That's what my grandma used to say. You taking food from my children's mouth. You taking food from my children's mouth. That's my grandma would say that. You think I'm gonna sit here and give you money like this and I got young children under the age of 18? The devil is a liar. We're not doing this. What was the reason he was giving her to get this money the way he was getting it. Look at the pay schedule here. The frequency of the money being given out. It's just so, it's ridiculous. You think he would just say, you know what? Nah. Can we just do 50 grand at one time and be done with it? And you would think I'm telling you all, if that investigation, I'm going to say this. That investigation would, to me, would be unsatisfactory if there was not a thorough investigation on what happened before this man was murdered in his driveway. Especially if they pretend like they haven't caught the person that did. I got to look that case up. Now I got to look it up. Because I find it hard to believe he was not aware that this life insurance policy existed before this man was found murdered in his driveway. I refuse to believe that he did not know. I refuse to believe that. And then on top of that, he went straight to this woman, lied about being married. The deputy chief of the police department lied about being married. And then he's asking for money like this, back to back to back to back. What the hell did he tell her to get this money like this in this erratic payment system? This schedule is so screwed up, it makes no sense, no logic to it. And then you talking about a woman that had 3 kids, that could have had 3 young children at the time, and you taking food from their mouths and you don't even give 2 cracks about it. Okay, this is the same man that broke federal laws to approve and pay himself overtime when he was and still is a salaried employee against federal labor laws. Oh my God!
Exploiting this
the
grieving
police
widow.
department needs
Plaintiff
to file
Denise
a federal lawsuit
has
against
made
him.
demand for repayment of said loans, but
That
defendant
lawsuit
Louis
from
Lacy
them needs to be a
has
federal
refused
lawsuit.
to make payment. What a guy! What a great guy! Eventually, Denise
He's a
Whitehampton realized
demon.
that this guy was a scammer. So the truth about Lacey's deceit came to light when she realized, you know what? I'm being tricked here. I'm being duped. Lacey's failure to
How can
repay
he
the
lie
loans
about being
and his
married?
continued lies led Whitehampton to file the lawsuit against him in 2015 to recover the funds. This legal action exposed Lacey's fraudulent behavior and
Jesus.
set the stage for criminal charges
What
that
was
would
the wife
follow.
thinking?
And you see right there the $88,800, and this is the amount of money that Lacey had to pay back. And then he decides to file for bankruptcy, to where we are right now. Lacey
Oh,
was
hell
indicted
no.
on federal charges of
Nope.
bankruptcy, fraud, and perjury,
You
further
coward.
compounding his legal troubles. The indictment accuses Lacey of concealing assets and income during bankruptcy proceedings to avoid repaying his debts, including the money was owed to Whitehampton. This deliberate attempt to deceive the court and evade financial responsibility is
What a
indicative
piece
of a
of
man
crap
who
he
has
is.
no respect for law or the principles of justice. This is a
Yeah, I don't know what that sound is, but it's not my video, I promise you that. But this piece of crap right here, Louis Lacy, needs to go underneath the prison cell and be forgotten about and erased from history, period. And then Tiffany Henyard can join his fat ass in a prison cell together. Yep. I say lock them all up in one cell and leave them there. Slide in food and water, only when necessary. I don't even understand. What was going on with the wife at the time? How did she not know her husband was cheating on her and somehow coming home with all this money? How did that happen? You think I would not look up the deputy chief of police trying to date me to see if this man is married? Didn't they have a bio on these cops even then in 2013? I'm sure he would have been able to be Googled to see if he at least had a wife somewhere. How did he pull that off? Oh, I have so many questions. Is the wife he was married to then, is he still married to her now? And if not, I would love to do an interview with her. I would sure love to do an interview. If she's not married to this man, I'd love to do an interview with her either way, because I need to know, what were you thinking? What did you believe was occurring during this time when he was sitting here cheating on you in a so-called romantic relationship with you, taking money from somebody and this coming into your household? Did you not question, where the hell are you getting this money from, bro? Where all this money coming from? Why these Christmas presents and stuff? This over Christmas time. What's going on? Does he have kids? I'm like, this man is not stable. He's not stable.
man that should never be a cop. His conduct not only violates legal and ethical standards expected by law enforcement officials, but also undermines just the entire criminal justice system. Police officers are supposed to be the embodiment of integrity and fairness. And Lacey's behavior is the total opposite of those values. Lacey's manipulation and exploitation of a grieving widow is just disgusting.
It's disgusting.
His actions demonstrate a complete disregard for the emotional and financial well-being of the very people that he's supposed to be protecting. And to be honest, the fact that Lacey was even able to rise to the position of deputy police chief despite his unethical behavior suggests that there may be some systematic issues within this department that needs to be addressed. There need to be some level of investigation on how they run things in this department, in my opinion.
My God.
So right now, hopefully he finally retires, tries to get his pension, also fight this federal charge. He should no longer be a police officer. His gun badge is gone.
He don't need to get no pension.
He should just go about his business. Again,
no,
try to fight for his freedom because he is in some trouble and he may need to start snitching so he doesn't go to jail. He probably does not want to be in a federal prison. So we'll see what happens. You know, the news have been flying really fast on this situation. So put in the comments below what you think about this story. Thank you for taking time to watch this video.
Yeah, listen, Hannibal is hungry. He's so calm. I'm like, y'all hear me. It's in my vocal cords how infuriated I am at the buffoonery of this nonsense with this man, with Louis Lacy. You are a soulless miscreant roaming this earth, and I truly wish that Satan would come and reclaim you and Tiffany Henyard off of our planet. You are in the wrong realm. I cannot understand what his wife was thinking this entire time. You having an affair and you bring home all this money out of nowhere? How did you pull off this affair? What? And then you sitting here taking from a woman that lost her husband, who was murdered in the driveway in front of their house. And you showing up there, you trying to woo her. What the hell? After 3 years of this, you didn't even wait 3 years. The murder happened in 2012. He started taking money from him in 2013. Oh my good God. In 2012. He started taking money in 2012, I think. I'm disgusted. He is a demon spawn. And he was fired. This man is not mentally or emotionally fit or stable. He should not have a service weapon. He is a danger and a threat to society and to everybody in Dolton. He really needs to be reined in. And I wish that it would be somebody above him that would go and get him and say, you're leaving here. We're escorting you out. We have this Illinois State Police outside. Buck if you want to. Bro, we will pop you one in your ass. You got some extra meat back there. It doesn't seem like it will really, hurt too much. Oh my good Lord. He needs to go to prison. Forget his pension. None of that. And then, of course, bankruptcy fraud. Let me tell you something. The government does not like when you lie and steal from them. Ask the IRS. They locked up Al Capone. That man put out hits on people and literally had people murdered. And he got locked up for tax evasion and tax fraud. So, trust me when I tell you, government don't like when you try to steal money from them like that. You stole money from them through falsifying your labor when you weren't even eligible to get overtime and you're a salaried employee. You don't get overtime. You don't get it at all. And if you felt like you truly earned it, you should have went and did it the right way. But no. Under our standard federal labor laws, you don't get overtime pay. That's for any salaried employee. I'm salaried, so I can say that. And no, he should not get a pension either. You under investigation with the FBI for bankruptcy fraud, and you owe somebody $88,000 for basically a romance scam. Because that's what it sounds like to me. It's a damn romance scam. Oh no, you should have that pension taken from you. They need to freeze his assets and take all his money. And then make sure he never gets a refund check again. And then at the point when he gets locked up and goes to federal prison for the rest of his natural born life, they need to make sure that whatever can be salvageable and sold is sold. All assets should be frozen. Sell his house, any properties he has, his cars, his valuables, anything that's worth money. Sell it and give it to this lady who is owed that $88,000. And if the village of Dolton does sue him, please make sure that's a federal lawsuit. Because that's a violation of federal laws, federal labor laws that can easily just Who in the world is the attorney representing the village of Dolton? They need to be disbarred. It's just a disgrace. Y'all, this is so insane. Like I said, I'm standing by my whole concern for the people of the village of Dolton in general. You got a madman walking around with a service weapon. He is not fit or stable. This is not the actions of someone that is fit or stable. And let me tell you something. These types of cases like this now where he's been indicted, it's going to sit here and he's going to take this as an attack on his ego and pride for some reason. Because he thinks this is about him. Never mind the fact that he swindled and romance scammed somebody out of $88,000. But he's going to take that as an insult to him directly. When you're a narcissist and you're sitting here kissing the butt of a dictator, and then that dictator is scared that you're going to tell on them to the FBI when at the end of the day it's inevitable. It is inevitable. Louis is going to rat out Tiffany Henyard because he doesn't want to go to federal prison. But he seems like the type of person that would not go either way and would try to take the easy way out, if you know what I mean. Hence why he should not have that damn service weapon. So someone needs to reach out to the FBI and say, you guys have got to do something because this man probably is going to snap and start popping off everybody and then try to pop off on himself because he knows that the walls are closing in and this is the end of the road. This is where the road meets the end of that cliff. And if you keep going, you're going to drive right off of it and fall to your doom either way. He needs to have that weapon taken from him. He needs to have that weapon taken from him. Somebody needs to say that they're threatened, that the physical life and safety is threatened. The police force want to sit and sign something. They all need to come in and say, yeah, no, we don't trust him with a gun anymore. We just don't. This man is lost his mind. He is unfit. He's unstable. He's unraveling. He is making threats of insubordination while he's approving for himself against federal labor laws to get paid overtime. Romance scams and all this disgusting nonsense he's doing. News reports coming out about him, basically saying that a woman that was incarcerated, that had mental health crises going on, that tried to, harm herself with a shirt around her neck and everything. It's basically like, oh, she'll be fine. She'll just calm down and take it down. Who? He needs to be under psychiatric care. Who is he to sit here and make that type of assessment about somebody that has a mental health diagnosis that was documented and diagnosed with that by a physician? When he himself needs to be under psychiatric care. He definitely needs to be under like a 72-hour watch from somebody. I'm telling you all, something's going to go on and happen, and it's going to be very, very, very serious. And I put this warning out. I had to warn everybody. I warned everybody. This is not normal. So, either way, you guys listen. Stay safe up there. Everything that Tiffany Henyard says and does, I would take as a threat. I would not give Louis Lacy the opportunity to even think twice. He would not be able to stay at that police station tomorrow all day with his service weapon on him. He just wouldn't be able to do it. And then they should go through his house and make sure he don't have any other weapons there. Take all of them. I highly doubt he only has one weapon. One might be a service weapon, but I'm sure he has other weapons. Take all that stuff out of there. Take every single weapon up out of there. I foresee this going horribly wrong. And when you look at somebody like him and see what he's got going on in his rap sheet so far, that's not a stable individual. So, either way, that's my 2 cents on this. I hope somebody takes action, takes heed to this, and here's this warning. And at least take his weapon from him. Don't let him have it. He don't need it. Give him a nightstick and a flashlight and whistle. And if he don't like it, then guess what? Tell him, well, we fired you anyway, so you didn't have to come back to work. Nobody told you to come back here. But you gotta go, bro. And have him escorted up out of there. And be done with this. He's gonna flip. The FBI has been in place for decades, and they continue to do exactly what they've been doing because it's still effective. So if they know they want to target somebody, they're going to start getting the people around them that's close to them. Yeah, that method still works too. It's effective. So you can hate on it all day, but it still works. They're not going to stop doing something that's been working for over 50 plus years. Nope. But either way, you guys be good. I'm going to do another video on Super Stupid. But I just had to cover this one because this is so concerning to me. It's not even funny. My soul is disturbed, and I just had to put this out just to give everybody a heads up. All right. Lady Luck out. Deuces.